So decent event in Atlanta, much better than we did in Long Beach. So some of the car issues that we had leading up to the beginning of the season, sounds like we got those things figured out. Spent a lot of time on the cars and threw a lot of parts at it, to be honest with you. So EGT sensors on every one of the exhaust manifold ports to try and see the temperature of the gas coming out of every one of the 6 cylinders in that thing. And that just basically verifies that your tune is perfect. We did a new Link ECU. We're on a Link Thunder for a couple years. We moved over to the G4X, which is one of their new ECUs that they have, but that requires a complete retune. So none of the software can transfer over, and you can't just like plug the other tune into the new ECU. So that required a completely new retune. So I spent a lot of time on the dyno, but I think it was absolutely worth it. And then last but not least, we did the TurboSmart wastegate. I punched a hole in the exhaust housing on the Garrett G40 and basically get a little bit better boost control in that thing. We were kind of limited with the single 60 we had on there before, so a couple of things to make the car a little bit more reliable. And it felt like we didn't miss a beat in Atlanta. The car ran totally flawless. The Link ECU is doing its job. The wastegate's doing its job. Everything's running super sweet, so it really just gave me peace of mind. Yeah, so our very first win in Pro NFD, pretty nuts. That was probably the best day of my life, honestly. Like, it was something that we had been working for a number of years, and to be able to stand on the podium above Chris Forsberg and Frederick Osbo was probably one of the sickest things I've ever done in my life. I don't like that track, straight up. And I wasn't very happy like leading up to that day. I just wasn't really clicking with the track, and I felt like I had more skill than I was displaying on track. And then for whatever reason, it all just started clicking. And then it started raining, and then it was monsoon, downpour, tornadoing, and it was nuts. And I think that kind of fed into the whole thing, and it was just basically damage control. It was just putting down clean laps, and I think that's what we did. So, and then making it all the way to the finals, there's thunder, there's lightning, it's raining. We're completely soaked. The car develops a misfire because there's so much water down in the coil packs around the cylinders, or around the spark plugs. It was just nuts, dude. It was the craziest event, and to come out on top was absolutely nuts. So obviously we're looking to do that again this year, but definitely a confidence builder because there's only 29 people at the time who have ever won an FD event. So we're on a pretty short list, which is really cool. And then especially to be able to do it in the rain against all these heavy hitters was nuts. So looking to do that again this year. And like I said, I still can't believe it. I really can't. Here we are a year later, and I still go back and look at the footage from that event, stand on the podium and spraying champagne in the rain, and what a crazy event. So I want some more of that for sure. That was good. Yeah, so going into Orlando, we do a little bit different suspension setup. We end up raising the back of the car quite a bit, and that's just to give us a little bit more bump travel as we come off of the bank. So as you come off of that bank, you hit this massive bump, like at angle, and that's really a track where you have to be careful about tire pressure. You can't go too low, because then once you hit that bump wide open sideways, it's gonna try and blow that tire off the bead. Most of the time when we compete, we're about 10, 12 PSI in the tires, the GT radials that we run. And that's kind of DB territory, especially when you hit a bump that big, that sideways. So yes, it is only 2 turns, but the track is pretty tough because first off, you have to hit the one bump, transfer across, and right dead center in the middle of your transfer, there's another massive bump, which greatly upsets the car. And you guys have seen in the past that some guys can spin there, some guys can straighten there. It's kind of a weird thing. And then once you get into that last turn, you're basically just sitting there. It's not hard. You feel like you wish your car was faster, but you can't grip it up too much because then your tire's gonna debead. Or if you grip it up too much, then it's really hard to run the wall properly on the first turn. So not that exciting of a track in my opinion, but usually we have a pretty good time there, obviously, especially last year. But choose our wheel speed with a quick change, try not to get too brave with the tire pressure, and then we raise the back of the car and give that thing a little bit more travel. And that's kind of all we do, and then once it starts raining, all that goes out the window, but yeah. Dude, diesel wagon. So yeah, we've been playing with that thing a little bit lately, which makes me so freaking happy. We got that thing dialed, smaller turbo on it. We took it out to the Mint 400 event and did a demo with FD. Kind of showed the off-road bros what drifting's all about, and I think there's no better car in the entire world to connect with that fan base as our diesel car. People were so stoked to be able to see that thing shooting black smoke and running some tandem in it and having a good time. So I'm just so happy that that thing is finally like ready to go. Like I could go out there and drive it right now and compete on it. So dot box, quick change, OM606 turbo diesel, black smoke, ride along car, and I'm just stoked that we can actually go play with it now, because I feel like it's been a long time coming, and definitely a learning curve for us, because we're not diesel guys, you know, so we're kind of learning as we go. But stoked to do some more content with that thing for sure. I can't wait to drive it again.